Come with me to see Oasis. I went to the Sunday show in Toronto, August 24th, and man, this was one of the coolest nights of music and rock and roll that I've ever had. Took my wife along for the journey as well. It all started Friday before the show, where I realized that they announced more tickets. There was a last minute section of tickets released, and I was able to score some floors. You got him. I was so stoked. I even splurged a little bit and did the whole parking pass thing for 40 Carl Road. And glad I did, because as much as I've heard you can't drive to Rogers, the parking lot was pretty chill, I would say. It was about a 20-minute walk to the venue on the way in, anyways. Big open field on the Downsview lands right by like the food market area. Then there was, of course, the walk, which we managed to walk through Downsview Station, then this winding path, and then eventually we started to see the stadium on the horizon rising up. Bit of a weird situation with the whole temporary facility, but I'm glad they put this up because it meant that we got to see Oasis. I did end up splurging on some merch. It was very expensive, and my wife suggested I take a photo with me holding it like it's a fish. Now I'm walking through the Rogers Stadium main gates. Bag check was super easy. We get into this kind of park area where there's lots of like sea container restaurant options and different engagement sites and activations throughout the park. Then there comes the actual walk through onto the floor section, which at this point was pretty empty, but not as empty as I thought it might be. I got out there, and it turns out there was a whole open section at the front that was divided, and the only way to get into that section was to be there early and get one of the exclusive like inner floor wristbands. But we still had a pretty decent spot, I would say, with where we were. You can kind of see the barricade there that went across, which Ticketmaster definitely did not advertise that. I thought it was just going to be one big open stadium floor, but that's the way she goes. Stage overall was pretty cool. It was a little bit tough to see during the day. I mean, Cage Elephant were on, and the sun was still up, and they only had minimal visuals and screens, and I feel like that kind of hurt their performance. Like, they were still very tight as a band, but I don't really know the band all that well. I know their songs. They were awesome. They sounded great. I just wonder if a little bit more production would have helped them fill out that stage, that massive stage in front of us. Then the show started, and I am, of course, amped when Fucking in the Bushes starts going. They got all the headlines rolling, all the Twitter reaction, the rumors, all that sort of stuff. It's a really cool show intro, I must say. They did a good job with whoever on the production side of things came up with this. If I watched this once on the social media, I watched it a million times, but it just hit different in person for sure. Another nice touch on this intro was the fact that they had like each city that they were in displayed as the ending part of the video. So for us, obviously, big Toronto in multiple different fonts, and everybody was insanely jacked up when this show started, myself included, for sure. Obviously, immediately I am singing along, I'm screaming, I'm losing my mind. So is everybody around us. I mean, they played Acquiesce as the second song, and that's a B-side. And how many bands do you know can have a 50,000 seat stadium absolutely losing their minds for a B-side? A B-side! But that's just how we all felt, and we were losing it the whole time. And I don't know if anybody stopped singing at any point for 2 and some odd hours or whatever it was that they were on stage. It was awesome. They went from Acquiesce into my favorite Oasis song, Morning Glory, which has been my favorite song since I heard it on the radio when I was a teenager. And man, did it not disappoint live. It was so loud. The guitars were just maybe honestly too loud for the show. I feel like maybe at points they were drowning out Liam's vocals, but I kind of think that's just what you get with Oasis, and that's the way it's supposed to go. So I don't know. I'm not mad about it. That's for sure. Wasn't mad about it. I thought Morning Glory was great. The stage overall was so cool, and the lights behind it, I just thought it was really nice. Of course, I enjoyed the Sunshine as well. Supersonic was awesome. That's a band or a song that I cover with my band all the time as well. So for me, I was like, oh, this is great to see it live. And now I'm like, oh, I didn't ever want to play that song again because it's just hits so much better live. But they did some crazy visuals for it, of course. It almost made me think, I'm like, could Oasis play the Sphere? Like, could they take this show to the Sphere? Maybe. That might be a little too ludicrous, but I think they should at least talk about it. Rock and Roll Star was the final video of the main set that Oasis played in Toronto on the Sunday night. And I mean, again, the visuals were crazy, lots of cool stuff. I don't know if it was during this song, but you can see the rain falling. I think it started probably a little earlier in the set, like a slide away or something like that. But it was pretty heavy by this point. We were all getting fairly soaked at this point. The band had to pause and take some rests to clean up the stage and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, the rain, not fun. I was pretty convinced that it wasn't going to rain on Sunday, so I didn't pack a poncho or anything else, much to my wife's chagrin. But, we got through it. A little rain on a summer night in August. Okay, it was a cold summer night in August. That wasn't great. But again, look at these visuals here. This is the end of the show. The fireworks, of course, I only took photos like an old man instead of taking videos. And it was impressive. It was like better than most of our like Canada Day fireworks that I've seen, but we were definitely soaked by the time the concert ended. We had to make the long walk back, which we'd heard nightmares about getting out of Rogers Stadium. Gotta say, it wasn't that bad. I mean, everybody was in a pretty good mood, which definitely helped. And 50,000 people getting out of anywhere is always going to be a hard and tough task. But they had this kind of like red light, green light game where we were all walking and they were letting pedestrians come and go as they needed or whatever. And that was fun, kind of. Couple guys taking it to the bushes here for a little pee break on their way out. But all in all, what an experience. What a night. Oasis just were so incredibly fantastic in fine form. Liam did a great job as a front man. The band was tight. Everything you could have wanted to hear, they played. It was an awesome, awesome night of music. And honestly, I'm just glad that I got the opportunity to see one of the best rock and roll bands and sing some absolutely massive choruses. If you want to read a full review, I have that up on my Substack, House. Check that out. I'll have links up and all that good stuff. And yeah, go and read the review and get the full picture of what was an amazing night watching Oasis in Toronto on August 24th.